Hey, welcome back to The Dive. Today on the show, we have Alex Mišković from Terra Balcanica Resources. He's here today to give us an update on their most recent exciting drill results, the latest technology in the mining sector, as well as what to look forward to from the company near term. And he's also going to let us know where he sees the most opportunity for battery metals and where he sees the gold price heading next. Hey, Alex, welcome to The Dive. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello, Cassandra. Thank you so much for the invitation. Greetings from Srebrenica base camp of Terra Balcanica here in Eastern Bosnia.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for joining us from Basecamp. Okay, so Alex, we'll start with the current market. BHP Group said that they're committed to growing their copper and nickel projects, but are not interested in lithium because they believe it is well supplied. What are your thoughts on the most attractive opportunities for battery metals?
It's difficult to speculate at this point. I think lithium was all the hype about two years ago, or even a year ago, and then all of a sudden, a pretty eminent group comes out with their opinion and their thoughts, and we're supposed to believe it. I think it's going to be needed. I believe that just looking particularly in North American markets over the course of the next years, I think the supply and demand gap will widen, maybe by up to 3 times as much as it is right now. I don't think lithium is going away anywhere. Now, do we need nickel? Do we need copper? Absolutely. I think there's going to be growing demand for all of those battery critical metals in the years and decades ahead of us. I just don't see how the supply is going to be matching the ever increasing demand in the next 5 to 7 years, despite plenty of projects coming online, particularly in Australia and South America.
Okay, now, Alex, let's talk about gold for a second. Its price has surged above $1,900. What do you think is impacting the recent price action?
Well, it's difficult to say. I think obviously the macroeconomic cycle is to a certain extent reflecting what gold has done. To be completely frank, the last month and a half of turbulence after what seemed to have been a good year to start out with was a bit surprising for me. Honestly, things haven't settled yet. The interest rates are going to increase and continually so, I think, over the course of at least first 2-3 quarters of this year. I think the outlook is bright. Mid-term to long-term, we are certainly looking at about $2,000 per ounce. Where exactly is going to settle at the moment, it's difficult to say. We as a company do have gold as a part of our portfolio. One of our targets of properties in Serbia is particularly focused on gold. We think it's a good balance and a good hedge against uncertainty, having battery critical metals, having base metals, and having gold in our portfolio. So I think the future is bright. But again, this year will probably be the time when we actually, at the end of which we have a clear picture of what's going to happen over the course of the next 2 to 3 years.
Okay, so let's move on and talk about Terra. You announced further high-grade drill results from the Zanic project in Bosnia. Can you walk us through this, and how significant are these results?
Right. So very proud to release yet another drill hole out of 9 or 10 drilled along the Mišković prospect, which is a high-grade, shallow, close to surface, polymetallic, silver-dominated epithermal system. We have hit about 6 or 7 positive holes, which is for a maiden drill program, I think, particularly good. This last one is particularly high grade, again, very close to surface. What's happening in my mind with Mišković is that we have now certainly proven the concept. The thesis that this system exists, it's shallow and high grade, has now been absolutely de-risked. The key now is just to focus on its extent along the strike, down dip, and obviously, hopefully keep on intercepting these high grades, which is exactly what we plan to do for this year.
You also announced the discovery of a gold-bearing system from the project in Bosnia. Why does this excite you?
Well, first of all, because one of the things when we came to the Balkans was, and one of the things we relied on was the wealth of historical data, historical archival data that we could, leverage. In At the same time, and to a certain extent, Mišković was in that sense somewhat known as a prospect. However, Brezheny, the gold system that you speak of, was entirely unknown. So that's entirely Terra's hard work and prospecting on the ground, which I'm very proud of. Our team used a combination of geophysics, geochemistry, good old boots on the ground, remote sensing data to compile a target which we have drilled last year. And to our surprise, we've detected a gold skarn system that starts from the surface, extends for about 80 meters into the subsurface, 85, 90 meters into the subsurface. However, the primary target when it comes to Brezheny, this nominally gold target at this point, is actually not gold, it's copper. So at about 400 to 500 meters depth, we have an exceptionally strong conductor. For those who are more technically inclined, this is about 65 milliseconds per meter conductor. So we have a 600 meter wide body that is basically lighting up on our geophysical cross section, and as such, represents in our mind very interesting porphyry target of some kind. We hope it's a porphyry copper, and that's exactly what we're gonna very inclined to test in the upcoming drill program this year.
So, based on your optimistic drill results, do you have any plans to ramp up drilling?
Yes, that's exactly what 2023 is all about. For Terra Balcanica, we plan to continue and resume our drilling as soon as a month from now. So sometime in April, we should start drilling. Again, two targets of primary focus, which is Mišković, the high-grade silver-dominated polymetallic vein-hosted system, and then Brezheny as a combination of a gold skarn and a porphyry copper target. We plan to do it in two phases, two stages, starting with Mišković first and then moving on to Brezheny. At some point, the work will have to be done concurrently on both sides. But yeah, this is the year when Mišković has a project, expects to see, it's difficult to say, but maybe up to 4 times as much drilling as we've done last year to really unfold this project. And let's say on the Mišković side, push it maybe one drill campaign away from hopefully by mid-year next year, some sort of a preliminary mineral resource stage.
Now, we've seen new technologies emerge in different sectors. What role does technology play in your exploration activities, and how do you stay up to date with new developments in the field?
I think it's a fundamental. These days, mid-sized to tier 1 targets of any commodity will not be found on surface unless you're looking at places such as Greenland, those ones that have been touched before. You're going to have to go undercover. To go undercover, companies these days are relying on ever so more sophisticated techniques, particularly those ones that can detect deep targets, porphyry targets, let's say up to 1,000-meter depth. So yeah, for us, I always championed and my team relies on multiple different sources of evidence that we compile layer upon a layer and then try to come deductively with the best possible targets. The geophysics will play and continue to play a fundamental role. I'm myself a geochemist. I think geochemistry and deeply penetrating, ever more sensitive techniques will detect those pathfinder elements that are essential for finding big deposits. But again, let's not forget one component that people usually neglect when we speak about the future of mineral exploration. That's the people. I think well-skilled, keen, eager, willing to learn young geologists is what our industry needs and what our industry will rely on. And that's going to be the bedrock of mineral exploration in the future, I think. Now there's a bit of a switch of generations taking place. I think we're going to hopefully have even more interest in this sector and field in the future. It does involve sacrifice. It does involve commitment, working remotely, working in some pretty challenging places, but it's also hugely rewarding. I think in a world that needs more resources, if you want to maintain our technological pace of advancement, geology will play. I mean, it's needless to say, I think it's ever very, very evident, increasingly more important role. And therefore, a combination of well-skilled professionals with some cutting-edge technology combined will basically provide that path for a well-resourced future of ours in the midterm.
Lastly, what should investors look out for with Terra Balcanica over the near term?
Terra Balcanica, as I mentioned, will focus on drilling right now. All the interesting geological prospecting work has been done during 2021 and 2022. Last year, we commenced our drilling in Bosnia. Also, let's not forget our Serbian targets. We have two properties in Serbia. One is a particularly high-grade gold surface, close to surface target called Mišković. The other one is a classical Balkan-style lead zinc silver vein-hosted prospect. Both are ready to drill. So we have a multitude of targets that are basically ready to be drilled. And that's exactly what the focus is going to be. So what I can say that your subscribers and viewers can expect from Terra Balcanica is a continuous stream of press releases over the course of Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4 of this year that will hopefully be basically our share price catalysts. And you know, at the end of which we hope to come up with some real tangible resources both on the Bosnian and Serbian side.
Okay, great. Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, Alex, and giving us the company update.
Thank you so much, Cassandra. It was a pleasure to be with Deep Dive again.
Thank you so much for watching today. We will be back again tomorrow with another interview, so be sure to stay tuned by hitting that notification bell and subscribing below before you leave us. Bye.